So I watched Alien Earth, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was a little confused watching it. Was excited when I first heard about it, and I was like, "Oh, Alien Earth, that's interesting." And I'm a huge Alien fan, and even I was a little like, "Wait, what's going on here?" I was a little concerned with like aliens going on Earth because that was kind of the whole premise of the entire franchise. Was aliens? They're trying to get the exomorph to Earth, and I think it was probably hinted at like with Alien Resurrection that the aliens finally made it to Earth. And then, of course, you have the two Alien versus Predator movies, which kind of break that canon. And as I was watching it, I was kind of like, I don't know, it was really boring, ironically. Like, I don't think it was until like maybe the third episode that I started kind of like getting into it and started paying more attention to it. And it was fine, but I ended up like not watching past I think episode 4 maybe it was. And I don't know if I'm going to continue watching it. And I do apologize. I'm a little under the weather right now because I was, I don't know, like sometime Saturday, I just started like feeling like crap and went to bed early and everything like that. And so like I was in this weird state. So I was watching a couple of animes, and this one anime that I haven't been watching in so long was Spy Family. And I mainly just put it on in the background, and I was kind of drifting in and out of sleep and just kind of like, oh man, this sucks. Like I had a sore throat and everything like that, and I took some NyQuil, so hopefully I'll be a little better. I still feel kind of weak, and I probably should eat something too. Eat more than I've eaten anyways. But I did watch the season premiere of My Hero Academia season 8, which is the final season, and I was annoyed that they spent half the episode recapping what had just happened. And I think it annoyed me the most because I was like, okay, I haven't watched in like a year. I know what happens, because I read the manga and all that stuff. But so I decided to watch the Japanese sub of the last episode of the previous season, knowing that it was going to roll into the next episode of season 8. And so you can imagine my dismay when everything I just watched, I saw again, to the point where I actually ended up jumping ahead because I was so annoyed. And I think it was like only like 13 minutes of the actual episode was new content, and it didn't even go very far. It didn't really do anything, and I was a little like, this was a season premiere. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I think maybe the show is struggling because I feel like, especially like in the last season, it didn't focus that much on Deku as much, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. Whether or not they're going to actually go through with that, now that the creator is no longer writing the manga, I think he's more involved in the actual animation, storyboarding, and stuff like that. So we'll see if he changes the ending of the anime versus what he did in the manga, or at least add more context, or add like extra bonus content. Like, maybe because the last manga chapters didn't really give us a whole lot of like where the characters were at and like how things were going to be. And it's funny how like the show ends in a way that a lot of people didn't like, but I kind of like, it's kind of one of those endings you kind of saw it coming. And it's unfortunate because even like some of the greatest animes, like Dragon Ball, for example, kind of ended like on a I wouldn't say like on a sour note, but it kind of ended like with a 10-year time jump and Goku leaving with Oob and stuff like that. And then you have Dragon Ball Super, which kind of messes that up quite a bit. And then you have GT, in which most people consider not canon, but with the Dragon Ball multiverse, technically kind of is canon. But so that's what I was watching. And then the last thing that I watched this week is I am fully caught up on season 2 of Peacemaker, and overall I'm enjoying what they're doing. I don't think it's like groundbreaking what they're doing, and if I was completely honest with you guys, like I'm getting kind of annoyed with all the interviews and like tweets that James Gunn's been putting out, like all the bashing he's been doing lately, and I'll touch on it a little bit. I did watch Marvel Zombies and I enjoyed it, and you can watch it on the website right now. My reactions to it is on the website if you're interested, MajinPlanet.com, if you're interested in watching that. But like back to Peacemaker, like I don't know, like it's not really it's not exciting me. Like the way they ended, like the twist in episode 7 was kind of just like, meh, okay, well that's that took a really sharp turn really quickly, and I should be surprised because that's stuff that James Gunn does in a lot of his movies and shows that he's produced and written for and stuff. So I'm not completely like shocked by it, but considering that like all the hype for the next episode, I'm not hyped at all. I'm not like, oh, I gotta watch it. Like, I feel like the last episode is going to be kind of underwhelming. I feel like it'll be underwhelming, at least for me anyways. And granted, I haven't watched all of The Suicide Squad, which actually had Peacemaker first introduced, and I haven't really watched any of season 1. So there's a lot of context that I'm like probably missing with the show and not like getting it. But I do want to talk about some stuff though that I did get this week in terms of like toys. So a couple of things that I grabbed. I got that Lego Game Boy. And it's pretty awesome, actually. Like, I've been, like, kind of messing with it like it's an actual Game Boy. Like, I think the fact that it, you know, you can put the game cartridges in and stuff, and then it has kind of somewhat emulating working buttons is pretty cool. Even, like, the dials are kind of like, you know, you can kind of move the dials around a little bit, and it even has, like, an on and off switch, which gives this very satisfying clicking sound. I did actually record my entire build. It took me about an hour and a half, give or take. Probably going to edit it down slightly and put it on the website for you guys, if you guys want to watch it, you know, the Lego build of that. It's pretty cool. I finally got that retro G1 gears. Went on clearance for $13, so I got a new desk spot that I kind of goof around with. So I'm excited for that. And it's an okay figure. I mean, it's a hyper articulated, not like articulated to the level of G1 Missing Link. You know, it's more of a modern toy, but like it's more G1 accurate. So I guess I don't know. And then I also I went to Target on Saturday morning, and I went there with the full indication. I went to Walmart first, and then I went to Target with the full indication of looking for scavenger for my 86 Devastator. And I didn't get it. It wasn't there. But I did find a Run Amok from Earthrise, which is super surprising. I'm super surprised by that. And I guess it was reissued for whatever reason. I don't know if it was one of those figures that was just an exclusive somewhere, maybe a Target exclusive or Walgreens exclusive, and you know, it probably ended up being scalped a lot. Just like I know the Prowl was scalped a lot, and the Ironhide and the Ratchet, and I think most of the Seekers were kind of scalped a lot. I know there's this 3-pack they just released that has Astro Train, which is, I guess, super high on the market. I thought about getting it, but not yet anyways. But I ended up picking up at Target, ended up seeing an 86. I thought it was an 86 Wheeljack. Now, mind you, before I even got to the Transformer section, the direction I walked in through, I passed the Marvel stuff first. And I was like, oh, they had Jubilee, so I grabbed Jubilee. And then I was like, oh, they have Logan. I was like, oh, they pretty much have an entire case. The entire case of that wave was sitting there. And they had White Queen, so I was like, I'll get White Queen. I didn't really need a Logan. Not so much interested in Cable. And I don't know who the other ones were. I think it might have been Morph, maybe. But I did get Jubilee and White Queen. And there's also the Daredevil Born Again figure was there as well. So I grabbed one of those. And then, like, you know, so my hands are kind of already full. And I was like, oh, I just saw Wheeljack, and it looked like it was 86, so I grabbed it, and I was like, cool. And then as I ran into a little situation where this guy, I went around to looked at the He-Man stuff and see nothing. Went to, like, you know, the Jurassic World Park stuff, and then I went to the other side just to look at the cards, because I got the Target right when they opened, and there was like 15 people standing at the door, you know, for the Pokemon cards and Magic cards and stuff. And I ended up running into one of them, and there was the Spider-Man bundle box was sitting there, so I picked it up, and the guy was like, oh, I think what happened is that he was reaching for it, and I just happened to come around the corner and just snatched it. And so he got kind of pissed off at me and stuff, and he's like, really, are you gonna buy that? And I was like, yeah, probably. I just want to look at it. And then, like, because he was being a dick to me, I was like, I'm gonna buy this now. And I was like, man, this is probably the closest I've ever gotten to getting stabbed at a Target. Not literally, of course. I mean, the guy didn't get violent or anything like that. He was just really angry and kind of cussed me out a little bit and walked off. And I was just like, okay. And then as I was making my way to the front, I stopped by the cards up there, and they had a whole bunch of them. And so I grabbed a second one because they limit 2. I don't know why I grabbed 2. I just grabbed 2 because I kind of want to get back into playing Magic again, which I'll get into a little bit later. But let me finish my little story here. So I get up to the front and I'm waiting in the self-checkout. And I wish I had just gone through the self-checkout. And this lady's like, oh, I can get you. And I was like, oh, whatever. And, checking out. And I'm putting in my code, like my phone number for the Target thing. And, whether or not I get any like deals or something, I don't know. And she's like, I can't sell this to you. And I look up, I'm like, what? She's like, I can't sell you this Wheeljack. It's street dated. I'm like, what? What? I was like, I understand it's street dated. You can't override it. And she's like, yeah. She's like, where did you get it? And I was like, it was on the shelf. You have like 4 or 5 of them on the shelf. And she's like, well, I can't sell it. It's not released until tomorrow. And I was so annoyed. I was like, oh my God, I really wanted an 86 Wheeljack. And so like I made a little short for TikTok complaining about it, about Hasbro street dating stuff. I mean, it's 2025. Do you really need to street date stuff at this point? I mean, like, it's ridiculous. Like, people are not that well trained in retail. And a lot of people like that work in retail don't care about what they're putting out. And so it's just kind of weird to me that they didn't want to make any money. It's whatever, but I was still annoyed. And of course, I did take pictures of it and stuff like that. And I had video. And then like when I was like looked at, I was like, oh, it's the Devastation version, which quite honestly, it's the same mold. I think the Wheeljack is literally the same mold as whatever, I think the Earthrise version or whatever it was that they released a couple years ago. But but it's got the more cartoon accurate paint applications to it and stuff like that. So that's the one I wanted. And the Devastation would be is fine, but I was like, I'm gonna skip on that one. I'll just wait for the 86 one. So yeah, of course, people are like in the comments, and I even made a comment saying, yeah, I'm aware that it was my mistake. It's the Devastation one. I was just excited, and people were still, but despite the fact that it was Devastation or 86, it's still the fact that either Target had street dated it, for God knows why they would street date it, or Hasbro put a street date on it, which sometimes it's the company that puts a street date on it, but a lot of times it's the actual manufacturer. I know a lot of people like were saying, oh no, it's Target that does it. I'm like, yeah, but Target, there's no reason for Target or a Walmart or any company to street date something. It's usually from the manufacturer. Like for example, Jurassic World stuff. The movie hadn't come out yet, and they didn't want the toys put out because a lot of the toys were kind of spoilery, and like especially like in the trailers they hadn't shown what the new dinosaur looked like. And I just find like it's 2025. We can just stop the street dates now. Like just stop it. So moving on. So there's that whole Sora 2 or whatever it's called, the AI video thing, and it's been in beta forever, and it finally got released to people who pay for ChatGPT. And full disclosure, I use ChatGPT for everything. I use it for a lot of stuff, and I know there's people out there that are lazy and they just use AI just hey, write me an article about this, and they don't do anything. Like I personally, yes, I use ChatGPT on all my articles on MajinPlanet.com. I disclosed that like a year ago, but I actually write the article first. Like I write it myself. Like I literally, when I say I write it, I voice text it onto a notepad. I'm like, hey, what do I want to write? I voice it so I don't have to type. It saves my hands from carpal tunnel. And then I send it to ChatGPT, and I've given ChatGPT, these are my things that I like, things I don't like, and I say, hey, can you take this and can you just like clean it up, fix the flow, grammar, anything like that, and then I reread it, and then like, oh, I didn't, and then I make changes. Say, hey, you added this, don't do that. Hey, you added this, let's not add that. I've never like just used ChatGPT to just straight up write stuff for me. Like, even like my YouTube titles, I use ChatGPT. I say, hey, I just did this video. This is what the video's about. This was the idea of the thumbnail that I had. Here's the idea of the title that I had. Give me some feedback. And then it gives me like a list of title suggestions, and then I pick from that. And sometimes it gives me some really good ideas, and sometimes they're all garbage, and I end up going with my title that I went with originally. And a lot of times it gives me some really good insight on thumbnails. Like probably the best thumbnail I ever did was the Tegosaur cracking, being ripped in half. And that was my idea, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And I went through 5 thumbnail iterations, and that video did 10K views. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in terms of content creating. I'm kind of slowing down. We're coming into the holiday season, so my professional 9-to-5 job is gonna probably start getting in the way like it always does. And in the past, I've always ended up not having time to create content and do the things that I love because I'm always burnt out. And this year, I'm in a better position mentally and physically where I can, have a bit more, hey, I'm not going to do that, kind of like some boundaries for my job, stuff like that. And so I'm going to end up kind of slowing down on content. I'm going to probably go down to doing 1 toy video a week. I might do 2 depending on how I feel, but I'm going to do a little bit more shorts and focus more on like the writing and more content for the website, because that's kind of where my focus is, the website, not so much being a YouTuber. I never really considered myself a YouTuber. I've always considered myself, the webmaster of MajinPlanet.com. But yeah, I know it was a little bit of a tangent there, but the point about Sora 2, the AI came out and like there was a flood of videos of like Goku fighting random anime characters. There's even one that was actually pretty good. It was Shaggy, I think it was Ultra Instinct Shaggy is what the meme was, versus I think Ultra Instinct Peter Griffin. So that's kind of entertaining. And all these AI videos coming out of the woodwork of just copyrighted characters, and I think it lasted 2 days, and now you can't do it anymore. Like it blocks it now. So, but it's still a great tool, editing tool for like videos, and I'm in the process right now of learning how to do it because I got a number of projects that I'm working on that AI really speeds it up for me, and then makes it where I don't have access to like a studio or like funds to be able to pay somebody else to do something that I'm not good at. So being able to use AI and ChatGPT and Sora 2 are the main 2 that I use really, to create my stuff and to improve my workflow. And so I've got a couple web comics that I've been working on for years, several years. And so I've been gonna do some penning, some general like penning, like I'm gonna draw like some general panels of characters and like scenes, and then feed it to AI and say, hey, this is the basics, so let's take the artwork style that I've created and let's now turn it into a comic. And then here's the story that I've written for it. Let's turn it into like maybe like a bi-weekly or monthly little short, like 1 or 2 page webcomic that I'll post on the website. Probably something that's not going to happen until 2026, but something that I'm actively working on probably on a weekly basis, not like a daily thing. And then also too, I've talked about this before. People know about this. I've been wanting to do short films. I have a couple horror films that I have kind of written, kind of pinned, like drafted. And stuff like that. So again, I could probably just use AI to create the scenes for me and release it that way, instead of having to go out there and hire actors and pay people or get people to volunteer. And I think it's going to be the new way of filmmaking, and it's just going to improve to the point where like it's no different than CG. Really, it's no different than somebody taking some general principal photography of like the actor behind a green screen with some visuals like set pieces and then just building the entire thing. Like for example, Avatar. Like what is the difference of Avatar film and AI? Like somebody who creates like an AI short of a cat driving a car and getting pulled over by the cops. What is the difference of that and Avatar 3 or Avatar 2? Or what I mean? Like these big budget Hollywood movies are costing $300 billion to make when someone's just doing it on their computer over the weekend. Like it's gonna shake up things, and it's gonna quality is gonna dip for a while, but but like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I am shifting from doing toy reviews, from not being like I was kind of trying to do daily, and I feel like it's suffered. I feel like because I rushed through the editing process, I rushed through the filming process. A lot of them I don't even script. I just straight up just do it on the spot, which for the most part I can do that, but a lot of times like I want to go back. I want to go back to how I was doing videos in 2018. Some of you guys might remember those videos. The CDL RC, the Beast Wars Megatron. I want to go back to that kind of style of videos, where it's kind of like it's a review, but it's more of a fun review. It's more of just like a showcase of it, and some like I'd have like some little trickery editing to it. So and the last thing that I want to start shifting to, and I've been actively over the course of the last couple of years, I've been trying to learn how to do it, but stop motion. I've seen some really good stop motion, and I don't know if I'm gonna try to use AI to like help me in this process, but I want to try to do it a little bit traditionally first. I've dabbled in it a couple times, but it's very time consuming, and there's just a lot of things that I can't do because I've been constantly like, well, I gotta make a video, gotta make a video, gotta make a video, gotta make a video. But so with the shift of doing less videos per week, it gives me more of my free time to learn these other skills so that I can then make better videos. And it's the same thing with like the reaction content. Like I've put out polls on both the MajinPlanet TV on YouTube and on MajinPlanet Reacts, asking what people want. And it seems like people want Kamen Rider. So probably within the end of this week or next week, I'll start posting probably 3 or 4 times a week on MajinPlanet Reacts. I'm gonna post Kamen Rider, Sentai, and Ultraman on the channel. I'm gonna probably end up reposting all of Arc, and because I never posted those last 4 episodes. And I have to go back and do some heavy editing so I don't get copyrighted strike and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a side project, so it's not like it's like my main focus, but it's something that I'll be working on in the next couple of weeks or so. Another thing that I want to like kind of move into like more website news. So the Fight Club, unfortunately, probably not gonna happen. Not this year, anyways. I've made the page for it. I did go to animemusicvideo.org and made a post about it. I'm pretty sure that site's dead. Didn't get any traction on it whatsoever. Nobody commented on it. I kind of searched some forums, see if there's anybody out there doing anime music videos, and it seems like they're just kind of confined to just YouTube now. Like the whole culture of anime music videos is kind of like, it's come and gone. And I knew that was going to happen like way back in 2018, 2019 with YouTube. So that's why I kind of shifted the site away from doing music videos, especially because back then, the wild, wild west of the internet, you could put up AMV of any anime with music and you pretty much were safe when it came to copyright laws. But now that technology has improved and people are using AI bots to detect this stuff, it's harder to do that within fair use, even though I still consider it fair use because you are transforming the audio. Well, sometimes not the audio, but you're transforming the video. But so yeah, I've got a plan to release probably on the website exclusively some unreleased music videos that I have made personally. And then like the Fight Club, like I said, it's probably not going to happen this year. I'm going to attempt to probably maybe move it till next, probably postpone it till next year. And see, like, I'll see. And if I can't get any like, traction for it, I'll probably just quietly like just cancel it. And I won't attempt to do any more music video contests because I was planning on maybe bringing back King of the Hill next year, but I don't think I'm gonna do that either. So yeah, and I'm getting back into Magic, which earlier I was talking about. Like I bought the Spider-Man bundle packs, and I've got tons of Magic cards, which again, that's another project. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna sort them and do that. But I'm gonna exclusively be playing Commander. It's too expensive to try to compete in standard format. And it's just extremely too expensive to try to do vintage format or type 1 or whatever they call it now. And then modern is just really too expensive to be competitive. And I'm not looking to go to tournaments or do any of that stuff. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to invite some friends over to my house and we're just going to play and just have fun. So picking Commander, because then you only need to have 1 copy of a card. It's more casual, stuff like that. And then it'll be like I'll have house rules, like, hey, these are the rules, this is what you can do, et cetera, et cetera. But, it comes down to, man, like, I'm turning 43 in like less than about a month, turned 43 years old. And I'm getting tired. I'm finding myself more wanting to just come home and relax and maybe just work on some projects and do some things that I'm not sharing with the world. It's kind of unfortunate because, I feel like we're in an age now where you can share everything, but I've become more and more of a private person as time has gone on, which is strange because I put myself out there on the internet. But I just want to kind of slow down and just kind of like, do things as I feel and not feel like I'm obligated to do something because I say I'm going to do it. Like, I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, even if like, say the channel took off or the website took off and I ended up having to like, I don't think, like, if all of a sudden I woke up one morning and I had 10,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, I don't think I would change the pace of content that I'm creating. I think I would stay the same. I wouldn't attempt to increase the output. I would keep the output as pretty stagnant as I've been experimenting this entire year. I've been going, I went daily for a couple of weeks. I tried doing by like every other day. I tried doing two, three videos a day. I tried doing once a week, twice a week. I tried different things to see what works. And I think for what I'm going to do now, I think it's the best way to go, even though, they say the more you post, the more opportunities you get. But at what point is it worth posting 26 times a day between TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Threads, whatever social media that you're trying to grow on or try to cultivate, and, you're just going to be burnt out and have zero free time to do anything, to spend time with friends or family or just anything in general. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I've kind of gotten to the point now where it's like not everything has to be content, and it's kind of where I'm at now. So, I mean, I'm still going to do these because, I'm doing the Majin cast. At first, I'll be a podcaster, but I think I've come to the realization that I just want to do this because I just want to, put myself out there and speak my mind on my own platform, whether I'm right or wrong. And then I'm sure there's one or two people out there that will either agree or disagree with me, and they might find it an interesting read or interesting listen. And that's kind of where I'm at now. So I do want to throw out there that if you do have any questions, you can email me at webmaster@MajinPlanet.com, and I will definitely read your email on the show when I do these. I'm not promising I'm doing these weekly. I'm just doing them when I can and when I feel like it, even though I'm kind of feeling under the weather right now, but I just kind of sat and I was like, I just want to talk about some stuff. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just want to sit and just talk when I want to. So hope you guys enjoyed listening today. And as always, guys, until next time.